Hello everyone and welcome to the latest episode of SUGTalks. I'm Craig Dill, your host, and together with our special guests we'll take a deep dive into the topics, challenges and opportunities facing SAP users today. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss another episode. I'm delighted to be joined today by Iver van der Zand, CTO and VP of Business Technology Platform EMEA North at SAP, and John Turnbull, Business Intelligence Report Development Manager at National Grid and also UKISUG Data and Analytics 6 Chair. So welcome to you both. And in today's episode, we're going to be discussing the future of data and analytics on SAP ahead of our Analytics Symposium, which is taking place later this month of April. So just before we get underway on that topic, gentlemen, I just thought, ask a quick question of you just to get the conversation started. So when was the last time you did something for the first time and what was it that you did? So while you're thinking about that, I had to think long and hard about this myself, actually, and I think it would have to be cycling on an indoor bike using a virtual cycling app, which allowed me, so just this morning, to cycle around Lake Garda, which was beautiful. A lovely start, and I walked out the front door and it's pouring down, but never mind. I had a good start before then, and it's much better looking at that than just at my kitchen. But anyway, so Iver, what have you done for the first time?
To be honest, Greg, you surprised me a bit. What happened to me last week, it was one of those busy days traveling in a hurry in a hotel. And in the morning when I put my coat on, my watch scratched the inner sleeve of my coat. So it broke, And so when you put on your coat and you put your arm in, my watch scratched the inner shielding. So I tried with one of those repair kits that you find on a bathroom to saw it or fix it. I've been part of the army. I did army duty where they should have learned it to me, but I didn't pay attention to that lesson, Greg. So I tried it on my hotel room and massively failed. That is what I did for the first time, Greg.
Well, very well done. Congratulations.
Well done. I screw up.
No, if you did it, you did it. And amazing. I've seen those kits many times in hotels, and I must admit, never ever used one. So well done for actually using it. Yeah. And John?
Yeah, so Craig, similar front to yours from a fitness perspective. I walked through the doors of a gym for the first time in my life. I've always been one to avoid anything related to do with running or fitness or cardio. It's not my thing, but I thought I'd best give it a go. It wasn't a New Year's resolution thing. It was just, I thought, I'll give it a go. There's a few people on my team at work started going. So, yeah, I actually went in, did a couple of sessions. Was in agony for a few days afterwards. And then I actually pushed myself to go again. I'm starting to enjoy it a bit now. Starting to feel a bit stronger, a bit fitter. I think it's helped mentally as well in terms of focusing and just feeling all around better, to be honest. So yeah, so in the end, it was a good thing to try for the first time so far until I injure myself, I'm sure.
Oh, fantastic. And now, perhaps turning into a habit that you'll continue on. Well done to both of you, and thank you for that. Thank you for sharing with everybody. So just moving on to our topic of discussion now, and to get us started, Iver, I wondered if you could give us an overview of SAP's current data and analytics offerings.
Yeah, and thanks for that question, Greg. So looking at data and analytics for SAP, I'm going to keep it simple initially. I will explain why. So the offering that we have, the innovative go-forward offering, is a cloud offering that starts from the data point to central semantics, central data fabric to consumption. And if I put names and products on it, so in the cloud, the data handling, data management database would be the HANA Cloud offering. For central data fabric and semantics and warehousing, it is the newly announced SAP DataSphere offering. And for the consumption of the data, meaning the monitoring with BI, the projection with planning, and the simulation with augmentation, that would be SAP Analytics Cloud. So that's a cloud stack. In some way, those customers who prefer to run on-premise or continue on one on-premise, we have a similar stack on-premise, which would be referred to as SAP HANA on-premise for the database data management, Greg, BW to handle central semantics warehousing, and business objects is still supported for the on-premise consumption of business intelligence together with BPC for the planning part. So I hope that answers.
Thank you. So obviously quite a lot of offerings, and we'll come back to SAP DataSphere, I'm sure, in our conversation. It's an interesting announcement from SAP recently launching that solution. And from your side, John, have you seen the use of data and analytics evolve over the past few years as a user?
Yeah. So for me, I think since I've certainly started really getting into data analytics, I think businesses are starting to view it as a fundamental asset as part of their business, something to really leverage, to understand what's going on in the world around them as well. I think when I first started out, it was very much the data's there. Let's have a look of how much we've done, how many we've done, etc. Really volumetrics based, but now that asset is being viewed as something that can help a business really drive its decisions and tell a story about what's going on. Obviously, the volume of data has increased exponentially also. So there's a lot more avenues for a business to explore to really give some, I guess, a lot more meat on the bones to what's happening in their business, day-to-day business, and start planning more for the future with it. Use it more in that respect as well. So it has come a long way, and alongside that, because of the increase in volume, there's a lot of evolution in terms of the tooling as well, and how data is processed, viewed, and read. There's a plethora of different tools to use, and obviously that is increase the number of business and third parties that are starting to provide these tools, not just alongside SAP, which we're talking about today.
Yeah, thank you. And Iver, just following on from what you were saying earlier, have you seen the use of data and analytics evolve over the past few years?
Yeah, I think if I look at the core evolution, I very much agree with my colleague speaker. So there are a few things happening, Greg. Yeah. So what we see in evolution, one, the move to cloud. Yeah, that is super important. Customers go to the cloud. One customer goes quicker, the other one goes a bit slower. But in the end, customers are moving to the cloud. So it means that the role of the hyperscaler comes into play. That's one. Second, the volume of data is extremely increasing. Yeah, the volumes, but also the easy access to data. People have access to whatever. Yeah, so you can easily download data from competitive data, what have you. So the need for data and analytics topics is to really be able to cope with that increased number of volume. Yeah. And a very easy way of blending and linking data. And that is what you also see evolving in the products. One of the things that I note, we as SAP focus a lot on, let's take that volume piece, Greg. If customers need to analyze such more volume of data, you need the software to help them find what they need. Yeah? And that is where you see the machine learning algorithms coming into our technology, but let's be honest, also the very good technology from our competitors. It's all happening the same. They are bringing that machine learning in there to help you as a user, Greg. Imagine you're a user to quickly find what you need. It's setting up correlations. That's one aspect. Second aspect that we see, not only with big customers, but also with smaller ones, customers don't want to analyze data only anymore. They want to use the results of analyzed data to forecast and plan. Yeah. So planning coming together with monitoring, planning coming together with business intelligence, that is a trend that I see, Greg.
Thank you. And So just we mentioned our symposium that's coming up in a couple of weeks, where after we will be releasing this discussion. You're going to be talking at the event, Iver, on fully data-driven enterprises. Can you outline this concept for us, please?
Yeah. So data-driven enterprises is basically it also comes. It's a concept that comes out of the needs of customers. Yeah, customers today. I think there are proof points from IDC and Forrester that 97% of customers want to drive their businesses based on data-driven decisions. Yeah, which is a long sentence for saying, I only take a strong decision if I have the proof points of the data. And that is a need or an ambition that I think almost all customers have, 97% or something is it. But that's a lot. Yeah? If you really think what that means if you want to do that, yeah, you need to have processes, governance, technology, organizational setup that makes that end users can fully trust the data, have access to it, yeah, and are able to find the right data points. And I think that is a trend where we all are working on. That is what drives our strategy massively. Yeah, make technology super easy to adopt. Make if you look at our tech, and you really compare it to 20 years ago, the onboarding of that technology massively how do you say it? Eased. Is that English? Yeah, massive. It's made easier. The tools are really easy to learn, really easy to connect, wizard driven, or what have you. So you need to combine all those elements, and that means quite a lot. Yeah, we can discuss it a bit further, but I hope that overall concept is there. It also means that analytics is more and more coming to the data, not the other way around. That is what we did in the past. In the past, we brought the data to the analytics stack, and since more or less 5-6 years, it's the other way around. You bring the analytics to the data, also from a technology perspective. I think those are important elements in the data-driven concept, Greg.
Okay, thank you very much. And John, you mentioned earlier actually about data being a key asset for a business now, being seen more as a key asset. So, what's your perspective on what Iver's just talked us through there? On, are you a fully data-driven enterprise yet?
In honest opinion, no. I think we're on the journey to get there. I think certainly a lot of initiatives in place to go on that journey, but as a business we're very fragmented, and a lot of challenges with our system integrations, our data ownership, our data quality. But it is certainly a goal for National Grid to be a data-driven enterprise, because like I mentioned about business seeing data as an asset, leadership and the executives certainly view it as that, but it's about now us putting things in place to get to that point, based on the things I've just mentioned around data quality, ownership, and our integrations with systems. Obviously, it would be nice to get there quickly, but in a complex business, in a complex world, I think it will be a slow journey for us, but we certainly see the value in it. We're certainly seeing the value of all of the different tools and platforms out there that can offer us assistance on that journey.
Okay, thank you. And just from that perspective then, looking at kind of our data analytics community within UKISUG, what are you hearing, John, perhaps I suppose the biggest data and analytics challenges customers are facing?
I think if we take a step away from technology and the data itself, it's really about people and the business change element. There's so much out there. I guess I mentioned on tools and technology, and all these fundamentals around data as an asset, but businesses are based on people, and people don't like change. So taking people on a journey to understand how data analytics can give you, the user, and really empower the user to make decisions. And also from an implementation perspective, I think choosing the right way to go about it that fits your business based on the point in time you're at with your journey. So I think there's a lot of users in the community at different points in that journey. I think National Grid are probably in the middle a bit when we talk to other users in the community. But so I think really trying to, but I get going back to the people in the user group who are thinking about these things, understanding where they are, who they are, the demographics of the business also is very important. So we've just went through a big implementation for S4 with SAC and our embedded analytics, which Tim Phillips from my business will be doing a talk at the Symposium about. And like I say, the biggest challenge we've found is taking people on the journey from where they were to where we want them to be, from that data-driven enterprise, and using the analytics tools that are at the disposal to make decisions. And alongside that, the huge challenges around standardization of reporting across the business and analytics. Everybody's very siloed in what they do. Executive and leadership all want different things for their own area of the business, and people tend to jump to what the execs do, and really trying to get a message to those people to say we need to standardize it. You've got people over here doing this, people over here doing that. A lot of cottage industries, another huge challenge around data analytics, and trying to bring all that together and get that message and bring people on that journey within a business, going back to the people thing, is a huge challenge.
I can imagine, and you touched on a number of, I mean, people are at the heart of everything, aren't they? And you mentioned that challenge around managing change as well, because that is a key piece, and we hear it time and time again. No matter what kind of project or what solution or whatever you're trying to do in the business, that change element cannot be underestimated. And just over to you, Iver, I suppose, do these challenges John was talking about intersect with what you're hearing from customers?
No, I think my colleague is spot on. Yeah, I'm going to be honest, Greg. I'm of course in the vendor area. Yeah, I am in where we build the technology. And I'm lucky enough to talk to customers every day. And the story that we just heard, let's be honest, yeah, I hear a zillion times, yeah, and that is just reality. People change roles, data sources change, multiple hyperscalers, access to data getting easier and easier and easier. So there's more coming in, and then the standardization discussion. So let me first add one thing, one key element that I hear as the number one use case when it comes to analytics coming back from customers all the time. That is still the good old, I call it good old, need to have self-service analytics. I still see that all the time, that customers say, in the end, I want to have a portal. Yeah, they see it as a kind of a portal where I have my signed off data models, I have my signed off reports that people can use as a kind of a start, see it as a buffet, yeah, where you put on the things that you as a company sign off and agree and govern and say, this is how we want the business, work with this. That is still the number one need. And from a technical perspective, how we try to answer to that need, yeah, is come up with technology that allows you to easily connect SAP and non-SAP data sources, safeguard all the context around it, yeah, create a business layer on top of it that allows business people, yeah, to start analyzing their performance and their insights and their processes, and build technology on top of it that allows you to quickly create those insights. That is what we are trying to do, and that is why we choose the strategy that we choose. An interesting thing, and maybe I don't know if you want to discuss that later on, Greg. An interesting topic is the standardization of output, how to deal with that. I have some experience with that, but maybe we can discuss that later on or when you have time.
Okay, thank you. So that sounds like a whole other topic a whole other conversation to get into.
Well, I'm opening up. I'm opening up something. I'll give you. I'll give you a bit of a heads up, and my colleague will probably recognize it. I always make a joke. If you give an end user a new analytics tool, whatever it is, our tech or Power BI or Tableau or Click, all good tools. If you just give them to that and say, well, go analyze, they all create Christmas trees, whistles and bells and widgets, and it moves around and 3D, and you can interact with everything. And the question is always, does the dashboard answer to the core question that you want to ask with the dashboard? How am I doing there? Or what drives that behavior or whatever? And companies all struggle with that problem, and standardizing. We from a tech, we come up with things like, hey, you can build templates and move people in a certain direction. But there's also a very interesting concept of the IBCS, the International Business Standard of Communication, which is an independent organization that tries to define a number of standard ways to analyze data. And we support that with our technology. Also, some of our competitors support that. That sometimes helps in this standardization discussion.
Okay, thank you. And just, I suppose, staying on that point and other points that are being made around the challenges and obviously everything SAP offers its customers. If we take a step back and then look at kind of organizations, if they want to say, right, okay, we need to do this, let's do blue sky thinking, blank sheet of paper, what do we need to be doing to start our data and analytics journey to get it right with SAP? Where do you recommend they start, Iver?
Yeah, I'm going to try to summarize it. Yeah, my strong recommendation is that you have the central data layer correct. Yeah, if you can find and set up a mechanism that allows you first to have decent live connectivity to your most authoritative data, to your most important data. Yeah, my colleague just spoke about a thing like S4, where your orders are, where your people information is, where your finance information is. If you can create a layer that first of all ensures live connection to that data, where you do ensure a full respect of context. And for us, if you look at SAP, that word context comes back everywhere. I'll take a minute to explain it. What I mean with context is the following, and that defines our whole strategy. Let's take an example of an order. If I want to analyze orders in an ERP system, orders are not in one table. That typically setting up an order in an ERP system typically touches at least 100 tables. Imagine that I built independent business layers. I all need to move that data. We set up all those relations, understand where the currency settings are, where the access controls are, where the row level security are, with all those information around it, what we call context. If you all need to rebuild up that stuff, that takes a lot of time. That is why the strategy of SAP is to ensure a central data layer that keeps respect to the context. If we connect to S4, we know the currency settings, we know all the hierarchies, we know all the relations of the tables, and we keep that functionality everywhere we go, even into the consumption layer with business intelligence, so that you always keep that in mind. Well, I think that would be my number one. I need a central data layer that respects that context. Second, I think with modern technology, you need that same central layer to be able to be interoperable to any cloud. All customers have lakes in Azure and AWS, sometimes in multiple clouds. So they want to offload data, they want to ingest data into their central data layer. So you need to have that interoperability. I think that's the second element that I would recommend to start with. Plus the fact that it should be cloud technology, I believe, because if you see not only SAP, but all our competitors, everybody innovates in the cloud, period. Discussion closed. So those would be my three elements: context, hyperscaler interoperability, and innovating in the cloud with a central data layer. That's my starting point, Greg.
Thank you very much. And John, from a customer perspective, where would you recommend the customers start their journey?
From my experience in every implementation that I've been involved in around data analytics and reporting, they've fundamentally been lumped in with an ERP delivery program. Therefore, what we find is analytics, reporting, data, it becomes some of an ugly duckling within that program, and people put it to one side. So my recommendation is to decouple data and analytics from the ERP track when you're trying to start delivery. Make sure it's independent, because what happens is with an ERP led, when you just put data analytics on the side, ERP starts dictating how analytics looks, and whereas if you think from what is going to come out at the end with your data and reporting and analytics, that will really help drive how you deliver the ERP processes. And I think you've really got to turn it on its head. And I don't think many businesses probably do that. But from my perspective, that is certainly the way to go forward. I think also really set up a centralized strategy and governance department that focuses only on data and analytics. That is extremely important and useful from my experience also. Ensure that they have leadership buy-in, that they will drive the strategy and not the business. Make sure it can be inside of IT or outside. I think outside for me, really, because it's got to be a business-led strategy around data and analytics. So it's really about asking how the business want to report and analyze, and what are the big questions. I know Iver touched on it earlier. It's around the decision making, the questions that need to be answered when you start going down this journey. Then that should drive and influence the design of all of your data structures and the processes surrounding them. Also, I mentioned it earlier, it's really about, before you start, lay out the foundations of engagement and business change. I think sometimes speed to value on these projects can be slower depending on the nature of the business. And what can happen is, if you don't get that engagement all the way through the journey, you will have a bunch of requirements that are outdated because businesses change so fast. By the time you get to your implementation, you spend all that money and time, and everything needs to be redone again. So really make sure that engagement is all the way through the journey. Yeah.
Thank you. And just listening to what you were both saying there, you talked earlier on, you touched on it, John, with data being an asset, and from listening to what you both said, I think from what I'm seeing is that organisations need to look at data as being a strategic asset to the whole business and the future of the business, and it's got to have that strategic importance. So thank you very much for both of your insights there. And Iver, I just wondered if we can move on to kind of the future analytics roadmaps from SAP, and what's coming up in the future.
Yeah. I'll give you a scattered answer a little bit. So let me start with the following. Yeah. So we can maybe share the link somewhere, but SAP made a bold move 2 years ago, is that our roadmaps are now public, period. There's one URL where all the roadmaps are, whether it's analytics or success factors or Ariba, whatever one, and that is really where we also internally are committed to. If we go a little bit in the more data and analytics roadmap and the things that I see, a few things going on. So first of all, I think it's fair to say that our investments and our innovations are all cloud centric. Yeah, that doesn't mean that we don't support or we even stop our on-premise products. We don't. We keep on supporting them. We will maintain them, but the real innovations are all done in the cloud, meaning in HANA Cloud, in DataSphere, in SAP Analytics Cloud. If I look at SAP Analytics Cloud, let's take as first the consumption layer at the end. SAP Analytics Cloud, BI, planning, predictive. We did a few things recently that are now coming to the market. So we brought together the custom dashboarding design with the standard story design in one artifact that is now in place. We really focused on the data exploration element with Data Analyzer, which is really the way to go if you want to analyze BEX queries or CDS views in HANA. Just a high-level exploration that is via that Data Analyzer concept. And I think with the whole refactoring of code that we have done since 2 years, we were able to boost the performance. Core investments on the midterm is even deeper integration of SAP Analytics Cloud and S4, DataSphere, and BW. Yeah, that's one. Second is more business content. Yeah, where we for industries, for certain use cases, business content that we ship with the product that allows you to quickly start up for a certain topic. And the third one is, I touched a few times that SAP Analytics Cloud is unique, that it does BI and planning. And where we will invest massively in SAC is everything that has to do with what-if analysis, Greg. Yeah? So the machine learning that we use will be solely focused on what-if. Yeah? If I change these 5 existing suppliers by 2 new ones with these SLAs, if I do that, what would that lead to my planning and forecasting and budget and whatever it is? So that is SAP Analytics Cloud. So deeper integration in the cloud innovation, business content, and what if. If we go one level deeper to the central data layer, DataSphere, we just announced it. Yeah, a central data fabric concept around semantics. Well, we just announced the product. There's a ton of content there. We will talk at the events soon with you, Greg, about it. But the first thing to happen is that we further build out the technical partnerships with Collibra, Confluent, Databricks, and DataRobot. Yeah. That are on topics like streaming analytics, like governance, like data lakes, and machine learning. That is the 4 partnerships. I think it's important over there. And with HANA, we further scale up in the HANA, the database, the third component that is further scaling up to composable pieces. Yeah, making sure that HANA can be used in applications in composable pieces. There was work to be done on the spatial area. And further scaling up for multiple real high level of high number of users. That would be the 3 core elements, Greg. So long answer, but I hope it gives you an overview.
Thank you. And, I think, we touched on it earlier and we said we'd cover it a little later. And I think it's worth spending a moment or two on it, actually. Obviously, SAP launched DataSphere recently. And I just wondered if you could give us a little bit more of an insight into that, Iver.
Yeah, so DataSphere is a product positioned to act as a central data fabric. Yeah, so a central semantics layer that allows you to connect to SAP sources and non-SAP sources. Yeah, so connect to everywhere. That allows to build data layers driven by IT, and on top of that, business layers consumed by business people. DataSphere initially is built upon the core and the frames of Data Warehouse Cloud. Yeah, so Data Warehouse Cloud customers automatically move to DataSphere, and we added to that concept ETL technology from data intelligence. So the ETL technology from data intelligence is the technology to connect to data federated, remote, or via a near real-time replication flow. Sometimes you want to replicate, so that is all in there. So those two products come together with DataSphere, and the key theme behind it is that context. Yeah, so DataSphere comes with a very strong catalog that understands all the relations and keeps track of them, all the relations of the systems you connect to. It keeps track of the data literacy. It, as such, allows, and that is new in our tech, for lineage. Yeah, so I can trace back. I have a report, and the report is built on well, I'll give it the other way around. With data lineage, imagine you have 15 sources and one table and one source is down, and I have 20,000 reports. I want to know what reports are affected and what users do I need to send an email to that the report doesn't work. Well, for that, you need full end-to-end traceability. That is that lineage. Well, that all comes with DataSphere, together with a number of unique partnerships that I just mentioned. That is going to be, DataSphere is going to be our new central to-go place for a data fabric and central semantics period. So it's just launched, and I think we will talk a lot about it. There are countless webinars going on at this moment, Greg. I hope this gives you an overview.
It does indeed. Thank you very much. And you mentioned machine learning a little early when you were talking about SAP Analytics Cloud and the development of that going forward. And we've certainly seen an increased interest in artificial intelligence in recent months. And John, if I may just ask you on, how do you think the use of AI might enhance an organization's use of analytics perhaps in the coming years?
Yeah, I'll start by saying that businesses and organisations with data challenges, Skynet will give up before it's even started. But I think if you're a business where your data is clean, it's correctly governed, and the technology can utilise that data effectively, I think when it comes to AI, I think it will be more. I guess a scenario-driven approach from a user, where a user could probably just think up an end result and type into an engine, and using your data analytics tools, it will spit out some kind of real prediction or real evolution of what is being viewed at, and it might pick up things that have been missed. I think it'll probably tell a story more than a person can by looking at an analytics tool. I think, in my view, it's very much embryonic in my mind, AI for analytics, but that's kind of my view where I see it.
Thank you. And Iver, what's your view from, how I suppose, what might SAP be doing in this area with AI in the future?
Yeah, so AI is a big chunk for us, yeah, and I can say something on a subset of it, and that is the AI that comes within the data and analytics stack, Greg. Yeah, so I'm going to answer only for that stack. Yeah, AI is bigger for us. We have a whole machine learning platform, but if I look at our ambition, it's going to be super crisp. Yeah, we did in the past a ton of AI in our data and analytics stuff, and people liked it. But we learned that they typically try it a few times and don't use it in production. And that made us think, and that means that we now focus with our AI on only providing AI for very tangible outcomes. And you might be surprised, but I'm very serious around it. A nice example is predictive planning, that we now built already for 2 years, I believe, in SAP Analytics Cloud. That has tangible outcome. I use machine learning algorithms where I could say, I based on historical data, these are the hardcore predictions with quality indicators for the next quarter or whatever you predict, time-based. And we will continue on that path, meaning the AI that we will further develop in the products is always on tangible outcome, and that is why I say what if. So think of the correlations algorithms that we currently have in the product. We will build out those further, where you can say, you know, I have this situation, I expect that is going to happen. What is the effect on that KPI, the margin? Yeah, or what is the effect over there? Real tangible outcomes. I think that is the buzzword when it comes to AI innovations in our products, Greg.
Thank you. So I suppose, just summarising that, there has to be a why. There has to be, you know, tangible reasons for looking at this, and not just playing with it for playing's sake.
Yeah. So maybe no. Let me say it. Yeah, we want to create outcome that really impacts business decisions. Yeah. So not for fun and have a nice graph. No, it should be something that really, like predictive planning, that impacts, you know, that can adapt your planning or your budgets or your forecast. And that is what we want to do. So what if will be a buzzword.
Fantastic, and thank you very much for that. And just in closing now, we've touched on the fact that we have our Data and Analytics Symposium coming up in a couple of weeks. So just a quick comment from the both of you, if I may. But, you know, why should our listeners sign up if they haven't already? Apart from, of course, seeing both of you speak, which is worth attending just for that purpose. So, John, why should everyone attend our Data and Analytics Symposium?
Well, I think you've just answered it, Craig. No, I think for me, so what we've really tried to do this year is structure the event to cover all customers who are in varying points in their journey. So the three streams where we're talking really around data and data strategy. We've got an analytics journey stream, which is, we've touched on a few things in this talk around that journey, but we've got a lot of customers talking about where they are in that journey, a lot of vendors who can help you get through that journey and start thinking about strategic decisions that align with it. And then we've got an analytics feature stream where we can look at the roadmap, we can look at what's going on. We might be customers that are in a position to start leveraging some of the future tools. So we're really trying to cover all bases for all customers and all users of SAP products.
Thank you very much for that, John. And Iver?
Yeah, I already gave a glimpse. Only for the reasons of John, I would go, by the way. Yeah, that is already a super good agenda. What we will bring is we will extensively talk about the bold move that we made with our central data fabric, talk about data fabric concepts, why we apply that in DataSphere, how that helps BW customers, how they can move over, how SAP Analytics Cloud comes into play. There was quite some news on all those areas, also the partnerships that I discussed. And I think if we go back to the question we discussed earlier, if there's any in the audience interested in how to become a data-driven enterprise, I would go to the event anyway. Yeah, whether you listen to John and his experience in the field doing that, whether we listen to you, Greg, or even maybe to us on how the tech can support that. I think it's a tremendous opportunity to learn about that, and that is why I would go.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So, what are you waiting for? Visit sapusers.org/events and get yourself registered. And just referring back to Iver's comments earlier about the roadmaps, and I do believe that's at roadmaps.sap.com, and we'll make sure that link is in the show notes underneath this podcast. So, Iver, John, thank you. Thank you very much for your time and your insights. It's been great speaking to you. And, if you're attending the Analytics Symposium, we look forward to seeing you there and expanding on this discussion in person. So in the meantime, thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed the conversation and found it valuable. So stay safe, stay well, and keep washing your hands.